Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Gun Cranks, and I'm with you. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Gentlemen,
We just thought we had a lot of important things to say today. We wanted to make sure people heard us.
wow.
This is Gun Cranks.
Gun Cranks. And you can see, obviously, who the two most important gun cranks were. They're the guys that have the big mouths on the screen.
I'm frightened badly. Well, okay, we're already off the rails. It's fantastic. It's 8 p.m. here on the East Coast. Yeah, I guess we are. No, it's 8 p.m. and it's time for Gun Cranks. And I am your Gun Cranks host, I guess. I'm Guns Magazine editor Brent Wheat, along with Tom McHale, the editor of
I
American
am
Handgun.
not.
And he is not. And then we got Roy Huntington, some guy in his bunker.
Neither am I. Yeah.
In the Midwest. So, wow, guys, that was a real strange way of coming in. But, you won't see that at some of the other magazines, I'll tell you that.
By golly, and let that be a lesson to them.
So, well, thank you for joining us. This has turned into a little weekly coffee clatch with everybody. We're getting lots of great info and intel and comments from our readers. So please drop us a line. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But today we're going to touch on something. Ooh, that's not a good analogy. Today we're going to cover something. That is something we hear a lot, which is size doesn't matter. Well, size does matter, and we're going to argue about it today. So thanks for joining us.
How you use it that matters.
Well, exactly. So my porridge is too small. My porridge is too big. My porridge is just right. So
they all look the same to me. Was that really?
Who is he again? No,
not so much. Here, you see
fun.
a difference?
All right. Well, he had at least two.
Okay.
So okay.
I've got we're going to talk about subcompact. Actually, that was more of a compact, a medium size, and a full size. Which one should you carry? And this is one of those things that people argue endlessly. And I got to be honest with you, I don't understand it. Carry what the heck you want. If you want to carry a Ruger American pistol, which is the size of a steam locomotive, carry it, knock yourself out. But this is one of those things people are constantly arguing about. So let's be like a TV show. Okay, McHale, Globe, throw the gloss.
Bigger is better.
Okay.
Okay, he's done.
You know what? No, you know what I'll add on to that? Every time I hear, well, I'm not big enough to carry a full-size gun. You know what that is? That's fake news, is what that is.
Wow.
That is absolutely fake news.
Let me tweet that real quick.
Was it Illing at Gunsight?
Illing New, yeah.
Yeah. She's 5'0" and weighs about, 40 pounds maybe?
Something like that.
She carries a full-size 1911.
Yep.
So no excuses.
I think this came about. I used to carry a Shield a lot and still do periodically, a Smith & Wesson Shield. But I think the Hellcat changed everything, don't you guys? Because that's when suddenly now we've got a subcompact that has capacity, 42 rounds or something like that.
Plus 67.
A belt-fed adapter kit. And now everybody wants a gun you can hide in your hand and has all the rounds. And actually, it's been around for a while. This is my old, it's a car MK40. And that's my little 40 backup. I can pretty much hide up behind my hand. And it's not fun to shoot, but it is comforting having that big hole in the end. Yeah. So the concept's been around for a long time.
Well, when I was in 11, that's not really true. When I was about 21 or 22, there was a guy in San Diego. What was his name now? I can't remember. He was famous for building machine guns and things like that. Nova. He built this little gun called a Nova. And what he did was he took a Star BM, single stack 9mm, which I always liked them.
But an unfortunate name. But go ahead.
I know. Yeah. It kind of was, actually, but there was a lightweight version. And I don't know if that was the BKM. Maybe that was the BKM. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but what he did, Tim LaFrance, that was his name, LaFrance Specialties. He's real famous. If you Google it, you'll see. He did all kinds of really strange things. Built a lot of movie guns, too. But he built this thing called the Nova, I think is what it was called. And so he took this Star and he cut the barrel down and the slide and all that, and then he cut the frame shorter, and then he did some action conversions. And so what really, it was the world's first pocket 9mm. So it was a bit like that car that you have there. Well, and it was also like $2,000 or some insane amount of money in those days, because it was basically a built by hand gun. But that really got everybody thinking about it. Of course, it took another 15 or 20 years before anybody did anything about it for real. But I shot this guy who had one. I shot his, and I realized that, wow, there's something to this. Of course, we all thought, oh no, the massive recoil of the 9mm in a pocket gun would be too much, and all the hair is going to catch on fire. We're all going to die. And then after shooting it, I thought, well, actually, that was pretty good, because really at the time, the only competition was like a Walther PPKS, or remember the terrible OMC 380 backup? I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember those, and so you really didn't have any choices. And so
was that a cap and ball?
Just about, yeah.
You mean the AMT? Because that's actually what I carried on my ankle for a long time.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah,
AMT 380. And I'll tell you, actually, Louis Arbuck carried one also that he had dehorned. That's the only problem with them. They were sharp as you could shave with them. And Louis had, I don't remember who he had do it, but dehorned it, and it was just slick and smooth. And it wasn't his primary piece, but it was a backup piece. And I always coveted that gun. So it could be made into something halfway decent.
I was always terrified they would never work, though. Because everyone I ever had, it would like bang, bang, click, bang, click, click, bang, bang, pound, pound, And I remember to clean it, you couldn't lock the slide back. Am I correct? Right. Yeah. Yep. And so some revolutionary gun writer one day developed the nickel technique. And that was you push the slide back and you put a nickel in the chamber, and that holds the slide back, and then you could clean it.
Yeah, because they were
really was.
They had the barrel was part of the frame. So one of those style guns, and it was just such a mess to disassemble. And it took 3 men and a boy and 4 hands to get that thing back together. So
yeah, I don't even remember how you take them apart. Well, yesterday I was filming a first look on this gun, which you can't see very well. It's the new Springfield Armory 3.8 XDM Elite. So this is the compact version of it. I'll put my hand so you can see it's not hugely big. And like you, Brent, I'm sold on the Hellcat. And I have a couple of them here. We have one with the little TV set on top, and then we have one without it. And geez, I just like them both.
TV set on top?
The little red dot TV set screen, on the top. That's what we call them here. Susie says, "Do you have the TV set gun?" And
oh my God.
But in shooting it, I thought, well, this is actually pretty comfortable, because, like, I have a little LCP2 and little guns like that, and they are a little snappy, a little hard to shoot, and I find they're a little fumble prone, Well, yesterday when I shot this gun, I thought, because I have not shot this is like a big medium gun, I guess you'd call it, kind of big medium, and I just actually forgot how nice they were to shoot, and it was very controllable, and it was very accurate, and it was easy to manipulate, and you could find all the controls easily with your stubby thumbs and stuff. And I just went, darn, here, as old as I am, and I'm old as dirt, I have to start rethinking all this again. Yeah. So, which is why I'm glad we're doing this show, because I want to learn.
I went through a phase years and years ago where I went, the smaller the better, tiny. How awesome is that? You can put it anywhere, and it's so easy to carry. And then I figured out, can I shoot them? Yeah. Do they make me cry? No. They're a little snappy, but the real thing is, it's just a confidence issue. I mean, with some of the, I'll call them micro compacts, I got to take a really weird grip to actually just even fire the thing, and everything's just too close together. And I'm like, not worth it. Rather carry something that fits the hand,
Yeah. Well, I was telling Roy yesterday, I think we were talking, and when we were talking about doing this show, and I'm kind of like you, Tom. I've actually sized up. I've made no secret about the Mossberg MC2C, my new favorite carry gun, and it's a little bit bigger than my shield. Nothing wrong with the shield at all, but this is just better to me, and it's a little bit bigger, but it doesn't, I don't notice that. Every once in a while, if it's really hot and I've got, just a t-shirt and shorts on, it's a bit more cumbersome to conceal, but not that big a deal. And it just, I have more confidence. I get more grip service for my big meat hooks, and with the longer sight radius, I'm just a big fan of it. So I find it kind of ironic that, like we've said, everybody is really focused now on these baby little teeny tiny pistols. And I've actually gone up a size. Of course, I still carry my 45 a lot, but
well, let's talk about ease of concealment for a minute or two. What does that mean? Is that, I mean, to me, if you're carrying, inside the waistband and a belt holster, I don't think it matters, whether I'm carrying a micro, a compact, or really even a full size. The barrel's behind your pants, you're covering the grip with your shirt. That's it. So when people say, well, easy to conceal, does that really mean I can carry it in my pocket rather than a holster? What does that mean?
For me, I can't wear inside the waistband holsters. I can just to test one around for a couple of days or something, but I always feel like I've got like a brick inside of my waistband, and I've tried bigger pants and, all that stuff. And it's just has never been comfortable for me. And so one of the reasons why I wear suspenders all the time is because when I wear outside the waist is the suspender holds the weight of the gun. And so having discovered that, I will say that having a medium size or a, kind of a big medium gun like this is suddenly became really easy to do. And when you put a Hellcat on in a good waist holster, it's like, well, gosh, I could do this. But I'm very envious of guys like you if you can carry inside the waistband, because I remember many people, a fellow who used to work for us carried a 5-inch all steel Les Baer 1911, and he's a little skinny guy, and every day. And he did it with an inside the waistband holster, and he wasn't always hitching his pants up or or
I carry that all the time.
Yeah.
5-inch all steel Springfield TRP,
inside the waistband.
Really thin. So I find it actually a fairly easy gun to carry inside the waistband.
Yeah. I was going to say,
but then again, I had a groove surgically implanted in my hip bone. They took out like this much,
Brent, go ahead. You were going to say something important.
So there's a slot there, but I'm committed. So
I had the same surgery. No, I carry inside the waistband 98% of the time. For me, it's a concealment issue. I feel like if the gun is sticking out below my coat or shirt, I'm not comfortable with that, even though I live in a state that is, people wouldn't give it a second look. So it's really more just me being uncomfortable with it, but that's just something I've always done and probably always will. And at this point, my habits are so ingrained, I don't think I could change. But the only time I ever carry on my belt is when I'm probably going to the range for training.
Yeah.
Well, I took this
outside your belt,
right?
Or
that's
on?
Right. Outside.
Okay, got it.
That's like the cop carry. Right? For me, it's a lot of that too. Just too many years of carrying it outside my waist on the right, strong side. Yeah. If I draw, that's where my hand goes. But I took my little LCP2, the Hellcat, and this Springfield Elite thing to some plates. I have not really a plate rack, but a series of plates I have on my property. And I did that yesterday after I was done filming this, because it really left an impression on me. And so I sort of ran the plates a little bit with all three guns, and Zappo again, the bigger Springfield was just so much easier to hit with, so much in control. I could manipulate the gun easier. I just went, darn, here, as old as I am, and as long as I've been doing this, we're constantly sort of reinventing and rediscovering things. So,
I think some of it hinges on the fact, and you kind of touched on it earlier, Roy, is the reliability factor. Do you guys remember, and I'm going to be circumspect intentionally, remember there was a major manufacturer came out with a 45 that was about that size or a little smaller, and I had a buddy who bought one, and he was so proud of it and paid a lot of money, and it was a fantastic one-shooter. That thing did not run, and he sent it back, and it came back and it would not run. And that was a very common thing. So, we keep saying this, but we're living in the golden age of manufacturing right now. So, the Hellcat, for example, and there's others of that genre now, everybody's competing for that slice of the industry, but any
like
of those guns,
365, that's another one. Huh?
Yeah,
another
exactly.
good option.
But 15 years ago, those might not have run. But now manufacturing's got so good that you can choose almost anything in any major manufacturer's lineup, and it's going to run. So it gets back to, is that what you want to carry? Does it suit your purposes, and et cetera, et cetera. But reliability really doesn't become an issue. And that's something we tend to forget,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember a modern test gun that I've gotten in the last 15 or 20 years that didn't work fine out of the box, except for 1911.
Yeah.
So, some of the
they're so
factory,
old,
yeah,
they
something
possibly
some of the
work anymore.
Hey, that gun you were talking about, Brent, are they still in business? Whoever
yeah.
made that?
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Oh,
Yeah.
well, later on, you have to tell me who it was.
Yeah.
Would they really hate us if we said which model it was?
It's going to pop up in the
absolutely.
comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It went away pretty quickly. So
okay.
we'll let that go. But no, it was a great idea. And I would be willing to bet if I jogged your memory, you probably had one. But I mean, and it was one of those things, not every one of them didn't run, but in reading the popular gun press, most of them didn't run, and it kind of faded away. You don't even see them anymore at the gun shows or any of that stuff. So, reliability, and that's, to me, that's probably number one factor in a self-defense gun is if the darn thing isn't going to run, then you've got a big rock, or you're not even, a non-aerodynamic rock in your hands. So we are so blessed that all these guns run now,
Well, a big part of that, what's interesting about that is people worry about the length. When you try and cut down the length, especially on something like a 1911, you get into weird stuff like that. But if you're carrying IWB, it makes zero difference to me whether it ends here, or here. It's irrelevant. But I don't know.
Well,
I guess there's some market appeal to having one this short.
That CCO, I think they call it, Brent. I think it's on the cover of Guns magazine. Now, I think that's really smart. So you put an officer's frame, because the butt does stick out a little bit if you're a little skinny guy, and then with the commander slide in. So that gives you the longer slide for reliability and, sight radius and shootability and stuff, but that slightly shorter grip. That's pretty nearly, I think, is a perfect 1911 platform, and make it into a lightweight frame. And it's like, hello, ta-da. I think a lot of us get complicated because, for instance, here in Missouri in the summertime, it's a short pants and tennis shoes kind of a situation because of the humidity and stuff, and so you really don't have a lot of other options other than a pocket carry. I mean, a fanny pack?
Fake news. Fake
news. And I'm just
shorts
too much
weather
of a
year
wuss.
round here, and I carry
what do
this
you do?
on a daily basis. So fake news.
How
in
do you carry it?
IWB holster under a t-shirt. Regular old t-shirt.
I got it. Yep. I just can't wear one. Is the only thing that is.
You got to get the surgery,
my problem. Now, where do you get fanny packs? Do people still make fanny packs?
That's not a tactical. That's a Wally World special, and the reason I bought it is when I'm mowing the yard, for example, or doing yard work, I'm sweating so much I don't want to get the gun exposed to it. So it fits my shield and a spare magazine, and regardless of what I'm doing outside, I'm I noticed it one day. I was carrying my gun, and we've done a lot of mulching this summer. And I came in and I took my gun off. First of all, it was just covered in sweat, which I tried to wipe it down, but I noticed there was just mulch and crud and all kinds of stuff in it. And I thought, I need to get that off of my body, off from around my waist. So I went back to the fanny pack, and it works really nice. And I've got enough guns that I just leave it in the closet. And when I go out to do yard work, something where I'm going to get really dirty, really sweaty, I just strap it around me, and there we go.
So when you fired that gun, did like a cloud of dirt and mulch come out of the muzzle?
It was so dirty, I didn't want to fire it. We might have had a real party in the hand. I had to tear it all the way down and clean it. It was that filthy. So I figured it'd be dirty, right? And it'd have some perspiration on it. But I was stunned at how filthy, dirty, nasty, awful it was. So that's when I decided, I know people drive by when I'm mowing and they're like, look at that guy, but I don't care.
The cutting edge of 1980s concealed carry right there.
Exactly.
By golly. Well, but you brought up a good point about the corrosion. I have certainly seen that when I was a policeman. You see cops who carry inside the waistband and notorious for not cleaning their guns and stuff. And I many times you see a cop pull his 4-inch K-frame round butt out inside the waistband holder and sit it, and there's rust on the outside of it, and and so I think if you are willing to make the commitment to carry a bigger gun on the inside the waistband, Tom, then do you have to pay closer attention to maintenance? I mean, do you have to watch the dust buffaloes and all that kind of stuff?
I get some dust, but wipe that off. I've never had a corrosion issue. But then again, I mean, this guy, even pretty much all steel, it's got a coating on it that's it's so I wipe it off and it's fine. Yeah, I've never had rust issues down here, and it's the humidity's like over 300% where I live. So
yeah, I was going to say my MK40. I've had some issues around the trigger guard on and the frame on the side where I carry it against my body, and frankly, that's probably just laziness. Taking it out, setting it, day after day, and then it's like, oh, need to clean it. So even that's why I learned even a stainless gun will rust. And one of the worst things you can put on a gun is perspiration. You've got acidic oils, and you've got salt, and who knows what else.
Beer,
I was going to say maybe bourbon residue. So if you are going to carry inside waistband, these black guns are almost indestructible, but any of them, to me, it's more a reliability issue. If I see cheeseburgers and mulch on the outside, who knows what's on the inside. So that's when it's like, oh crap, time to take a day and clean the guns.
So if you were a gun store commando, if you were a guy behind the counter at your local gun store, and that's right, with your floppy $5 or free holster that you found in the holster box, right? And whatever the cheap gun that was on sale that you're carrying, and somebody's there and they're looking at a small frame semi-auto 22 380 whatever, maybe J frame size gun, and then they're also looking at a Hellcat. And then next to that is maybe something like this size, the kind of medium to biggish size, what would you tell someone who's buying their first gun? What advice would you give them? Because would you say, well, they'll carry the little one, chances are pretty good. They might carry the middle one. They probably wouldn't carry the big one, but that's maybe the best one for them. I mean, what advice do we give them? Anyone?
I say medium size, because I always tell people the smaller the gun, the more of an expert platform it is.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily 100% correct, but it takes a little more skill and certainly more practice to get good hits with those really tiny guns. So, if I always say medium to full size, and saying, nobody's starting out is probably going to want to carry a full size. So go with something medium. Like I said, the Mossberg, that's the perfect size for me. It's big enough that it's very controllable. Like I said, longer sight radius. So,
bingo.
Hopefully would make it a tad bit more accurate. If again, I love this. This is the Ruger, the Ruger American, but it's a huge honking gun. But if somebody wanted to carry it, but I'm with you though, Roy. Is they always get these really teeny tiny guns because they'll carry them, but at what price? Do they ever shoot them? Well, I think a lot of people don't, because they get poor results with it because of the shorter sight radius and all that. And they're like, yeah, it's good enough. It's good enough.
Hey, Brent.
Yes, sir.
How easy is it for you to clear a plate rack with that Ruger American?
Very easy.
Exactly. So I'm 100% with you on this. I'm the medium large guy, especially for a newer shooter. It is easier to control. There's less recoil because it's got more weight, and you got more skin surface area all over the gun to control it. And you hit the magic word on sight radius. This guy is just as mechanically accurate as one with a 4 or 6 inch barrel, but it's a heck of a lot harder to shoot accurately because you got a 2-inch sight radius or something, whatever it is, 3. That makes it hard on the shooter.
Yeah. Well, and we've had this discussion before. Do you intervene? Do you get involved in all this? But I've always considered the smallest guns, those are my getaway guns. Those are to get me away from something, to keep somebody off of me, rather than maybe engage somebody at a longer distance in a situation where I choose to engage somebody. These are strictly, I'm backing out of here, and if I need to keep somebody from following me or my family. And I don't think people look at it that way sometimes. They think, well, I've got my subcompact and I can do whatever I need. And like Steve McGarrett in Hawaii Five-0, I can pick off that sniper with my my 2-inch J frame at 150 yards. If you can, I am impressed.
I remember
you got really good eyes.
I watched him one time. He took a shot at a guy who was running behind a chain link fence, and it was like 75 yards away. And typical one hand over the top, double action, bang, and the guy rolls. It's like, I can never watch this show again. Well, I am the very first one guilty of telling people, if your wife, usually rather than the husband, but if your wife wants a gun for protection, and she's not a shooter, and you're not going to get her to train and all that kind of stuff, is get them like a 4-inch fixed sight 38 special revolver or something like that, for all the reasons we're talking about. Less recoil, a little easier to shoot, and all that kind of stuff. I think an auto has a too complicated manual of operation. They forget, is the magazine out, is the chamber loaded, what do I do now, what's the safety, and all that stuff. But what I have heard back later on, which is women who decide that actually they do like this gun, they do like to shoot this gun, but they hate to carry it because it's a brick, And so the same guy comes to me and says, hey, you know what, you were right. My wife really likes her gun. I like it. I come home from work at night and I see it's out on her table. So I knew that she was, relying on it. He said, but she's tried to carry it with her and now she hates it. What should I do? And it's like, okay, I'm putting that on the table, boys. What should they do?
Take her to the range and give her a few to try. And here's what happened in my case. My wife's an active, frequent shooter, active shooter. That sounds really wrong.
I've heard about her.
I caught myself on that one. I would have been killed after the show.
Because she's a
frequent shooter, and she carries an all metal, it's aluminum and steel Springfield Armory EMP. It's a 1911 9mm. It's not light, and she says, it's not light, but every time she goes to the range and tries something new or bigger, smaller, whatever, she's like, she knocks a bullseye out with that thing, and she's like, nope. I'll take the weight penalty, So in this case, going to the range and trying those other lighter, more convenient options made it very clear that this is the one I'm confident with. So it's what she continues to carry, her choice.
I think we've kind of hit on another topic here I hadn't thought about till just now is your life changes and your taste and your needs and your wants in a firearm change. I mean, seriously, how many guns between all of us have we carried on a regular basis? Not the ones we're just trying, but the ones we carried for 6 months or a year or 5 years. That's a lot of guns, I'm guessing. And it's, and I guarantee you, everyone we're carrying at the moment, this is the one. I think I'm going to stick with this one. And it never happens.
And then there's another one 6
exactly.
months from now.
It's true.
It kind of reminds me of boats. If you own a boat, there's no such thing as the perfect boat. So as soon as you buy one, you start looking, well, if I had a little bigger one and then a little smaller one, and guns are the same way. So most of the time it's just our wants. But, again, as a full-time police officer, I had a different mindset carrying off duty than I do now. Now my primary job is just get out of Dodge. I mean, if I can help somebody, that's great, but my job is to get out of Dodge. So maybe something like that's a little more appropriate, but it depends on your circumstance. If you're in a very high-risk situation where there's a high likelihood of getting in a running gun battle, this probably isn't what I would suggest maybe as your secondary or third backup piece. Maybe this makes more sense for you at that point. So as they say, and we always say too, your mileage may vary.
Hey, I gotta show you guys something. I might have found my perfect carry gun for at least 6 more months.
I'm frightened.
Okay. No, I'm dead serious.
Okay.
It's a Franken Wilson SIG is what it is. Now let me explain this, because I was carrying, as you might remember, a SIG P320X compact. Is this slide and optic with a smaller black frame. And then sneak preview, an upcoming issue of American Handgunner has the Wilson Combat WCP320 featured. Once I started shooting that, I was like, dang, I really like this. It's nice. It's got, slightly longer grip, and their grip texture, they make a frame to fit the 320. I said, at the same length this way, but this one has a little taller grip, so I can fit all my fingers on it. So I got online and I ordered a taller grip frame for my SIG P320X compact, and the two work together quite beautifully. So I guess I'm kind of contrarian. Earlier we're talking about, the shorter grip frame and the standard slide. I kind of went the opposite direction. So I have the shorter slide and the longer grip frame. So I guess I don't follow instructions very well, but
that's the
super cool.
That's a non-serialized grip frame, right? So they're like
Yeah,
$30 or something. You just buy it. Yeah, okay. I remember I got one time and it came with like a half a dozen. I said, "What is this?" But they're just plastic.
I just recorded a video today on the making this gun, just so people could see kind of what that fire control module in the SIG looks like and how it works. And you're right, that's the serialized part, and you just pop it out of one frame and into another, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, I remember years ago, I was visiting the SIG factory when they were relatively new here, and they had just introduced, what was the first modular frame one? Do you remember that? Was it a 320 series? It was
250, I think, also has it.
Yeah, and so
P250, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but they sprung it on us in this press meeting, and they said, "Shh, don't tell anybody, or we'll kill you," and stuff. And so it was the same concept. So polymer frame, the firing chassis module thing that drops inside that's serial numbered, and then you could get multiple grip frame sizes and multiple slide sizes. And they were going after the LE market because at that point, the vast majority of agencies were either already transitioned or transitioning as fast as they can to autos. And but of course, the big problem was that the little skinny, people couldn't use the same gun that the big burly guys could use. And so they were really scrambling. And so SIG came up with this idea. It was really funny because we were all like going, duh, what, yeah. And then so they had a bunch of parts, and so we were all start building our own guns there, kind of like just what you did. Oh, well, I want the little grip and the long slide. Well, the other guys, I want the short slide and the big grip, and now though, gosh, it's in over the top. I'm going to add something though, because yesterday I filmed a second video and I used a big bore snubby revolver. This was 45 ACP. I was shooting 45 auto rim in it, so it's a rimmed 45 ACP, and it was that buffalo bore load, which is the full hard cast wad cutter at about 950 feet per second from this, end frame snubby. And, when I first picked it up, it's like, yeah, okay, right, big deal, right? And so then I shot it and I hit the target really well, and it put these big round clean cut holes in the target. And of course, you can load it with full moon clips if you want to. And then I had to sit down now and rethink my entire concealed carry life again, about and you started it though a minute ago, Brent, when you said, this is my get out of this situation gun. And I thought, well, you know what? 6 shots of full hard cast wad cutter at 900 feet per second will pretty much get you out of whatever situation you find yourself into. So now here we are back to square one, having to rethink everything.
Full circle on your carry choice.
I know. Now I have to reevaluate J-frames. Do I still really love J-frames? And I just got an
existential crisis.
It's causing me existential crisis. I just picked up a couple of J&G sales. They're going to hate me for even saying this, I think, but I think they're sold out now. They were selling round butt Smith & Wesson Model 10 revolvers, except they were police imports or trade-in guns. And whoever had them before took off the barrels, and they were 2-inch guns because they all have little short ejector rods on them. But the guts are pretty cool. So you have a basically hardly used round butt Model 10 K-frame, nearly the perfect gun of all time. Well, I went to Numerich Arms and I found, I have no idea how they got these, but someone took 4-inch heavy barreled Smith & Wesson revolver barrels and cut the front 1 inch off. So got rid of the sight and all that. So they had 3-inch heavy barrel Smith & Wesson Model 10 revolver barrels for $18 a piece. So I bought a few of those. And
of course you did.
I did. But so there I am. I'm looking at this. So I haven't assembled any of the guns or done anything yet, but it's like, Smith & Wesson did the Model 13 for a reason. Round butt fixed sight K-frame, 3-inch barrel, heavy duty.
Mhm.
Ooh, Lord, it's hard to beat that. And that's in the sort of medium gun category.
Yeah.
What are you going to do for sights on that? You're going to put a TV set on top of it or what?
I just can't put a red dot on top of a. Does anybody do that? Are they putting red dots on top of like those kind of guns, concealed carry revolvers? Like, is anybody doing that?
Not that I've seen yet. Not
Yeah, I was
a
gonna
stock
I'm
issue.
sure somebody has, but
Oh yeah,
Great. Now we've given them an idea, and that's what's
It's a
going to
moneymaker.
happen. Some custom pistol smith has already got his file out.
or he's
It's like,
screaming at the screen, "I did that! I did that!"
did that on my Bianchi gun in 1984.
Exactly.
Actually, I have to look at one of these to see if you actually could do that. Because no, I won't look at one to see if you can
There's
do
a
that.
Roy's Insider article for you.
Yeah, there's something going to happen down the road.
Well, taking a sidebar, we talked about doing the crap in our boxes, and Roy, you've got some spectacular. You showed a light that it's like a crew serve weapon light.
Oh yeah, I have it right here. Should I show it to you?
Go ahead and show. That'll be like a preview. We might do that next week.
This will be a preview. This guy I knew from 100 years ago on the Chula Vista Police Department. This says Beam Guide. It's the cuts through the night. Okay. And well, he sent this to me. His dad, Hal King Sr., was the range master. And he sort of took me under his wing when I was a young reserve there. And so like most cops, he used to get all kinds of free stuff, from manufacturers. So now this would have been early 60s, I think. It's probably really about early 60s. And so he got this. And if we pretend this is a revolver, so it goes, I know, it goes like this. See, so the revolver goes inside this area, and then the little bungee cordy thing goes around the back of the revolver shot, and you hold it, and lo and behold,
it works.
Got a 12 lumen light on it.
Where do you attach the duct tape?
I know it's because you can't appreciate it because on the screen here it actually looks bright, but it is not bright. It is like, well, it shines. It's not green and it's not that bright. It really is.
Wow.
It's just anyway. So yeah, we need to clean out our goodies. And so Streamlight, are you listening? You haven't invented anything new. Beam Guide had you. Orlando, Florida, 1963.
Well, can you imagine putting it on that?
Oh, perfect.
It's bigger than that gun.
Well, you know what, too? It says in the caution, you need to take this off of your gun in order to reload it.
And to holster it, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't holster it. Yeah. And so I think you said earlier, Brent, that this is the good old days. It really is. Because there's been a few times where I will be thinking, I'll think, I wish I had a tool that did this, or I wish I had this accessory for my gun. Well, 2 seconds with Mr. Google, and it's like there's 15 companies making them in 10 different colors, and then thanks to Amazon, you have one Wednesday.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, guys, so let's close by answering the question: does size matter? Tom McHale.
Yes, size matters. It feels better. Can I say that on the air?
I can't believe you let him do you. It's
you
like
walked right into that
to him, so he could,
It does. You can get a good grip, on a larger size, right? I could go all day, so I'm just saying.
So, but let's not. And
but let's not. No, but seriously.
Sidebar, Randy, our
Seriously.
boss. I'm sorry.
I know.
Your fault.
But size does matter. Yeah.
Size does matter.
You know what? So in all seriousness, I mean, look at this. You got surface area matters. The more of your fingers and palm and support hand can touch plastic or metal or wood, the better. You're going to control it better. You're going to manage recoil, longer sight radius. I mean, bigger is better.
But
I think
devil's
it is.
Advocate. Do you carry subcompact though ever? Hardly ever. Or
me?
Yeah, Tom.
You know what? This is about as small as I'll go. This is a Glock 43X, and I also like the Hellcat and the XDS. I have an old XDS that's, about the same size as this, and it's about identical in size to a snubby, So I don't go smaller than that because I can't really control it. I have to do weird stuff to get a proper firing grip and all that. So
Is it illegal though? I mean, illegal stuff you're doing.
Well,
it's all right. I'm not filming it. So
I have a friend here named Garrett. Garrett might be listening to this, and Garrett is 6'6". She wears a size, I don't know, 34 shoe, and I don't know what he weighs, 240 or something. He's just built like a house. He moves heavy roofing material by hand. He's just this big, strong young fellow. And when you put a Ruger LCP2 in his hand, it's childish. It's this little, he can't put his finger in the trigger guard,
It just won't fit.
Yeah, it'll be like it sticks on it, or, and like he told me, he says, I've never gone into a shoe store and walked out with a pair of shoes without having them have to custom order them, that kind of stuff. And so,
Wow.
So there's the reality of that. Like I actually can shoot an LCP2, but I am going to have to reevaluate all this. I'm really glad that Hellcat invented the Hellcat and the P365 and then Mossberg guns, because those, I would call it a little bit too big for your pocket autos. Might be just about the right size for we mere mortals, not the guys like Garrett maybe, because even that's maybe a little small for him. But
Brent, what are your closing thoughts? And keep it clean.
Well, you've pretty much scraped the gutter bare, so I'm going to play it straight here. No, my answer is always the same one I always give. Go buy bullets. If you want to carry a full-size 1911, if you want to carry a SIG P365 or anything in between or something bigger, you want to carry Roy's bunt line, you go ahead and knock yourself out, but just make sure you can hit the target when you have to hit the target. So
sage advice.
There you go.
Sage advice. Yeah.
So see, I'm inclusive. Join us together. We're all in this together.
Not like Tom, who said that only big guns are best,
That's right.
And not like me, who can't decide.
Yeah, big guns matter. So
Exactly. Well, guys, it's been another wonderful Gun Cranks, and I hit the road tomorrow. Tom, you just got back from Montana. I'm going to be going to the NRA Whittington Center this week.
Lucky.
So
I've always wanted to go there.
that's why I'm going. And
Take lots of pictures for us.
I plan on it, and I'm taking the train. So
Nice.
that's going to be, I'm going to shoot some video, except, I've taken Amtrak quite a bit, but I haven't ridden in the last couple of years. But I was watching the on-time performance, and today they're on time. Yesterday's train getting into Chicago was 7 hours late.
7 hours.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
So if
You could have driven there.
exactly. So
That's
if you see
scary
a
when
guy,
you appreciate airlines and their timeliness, right?
so if any of our audience is driving in downtown Chicago early next week, and you see a guy sitting on the sidewalk with a sign that says "We'll write gun story for food," that could be me. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I will be back by next Wednesday. So we'll have another edition of Gun Cranks. And in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out gunsmagazine.com and AmericanHandgunner.com and all of our wonderful social media that we're really ramping up. I just set up our Twitter thing for Guns Magazine the other day. So we'll start tweeting, sweeping, or whatever it's called, maybe. So anyway, make sure you check all that stuff out. That's how our bosses know that we're actually doing something productive instead of just having fun, like is what actually we do here. So
and we promise to be smarter next week.
yeah. Well, after
Don't overcommit.
after some of what Tom said, I'm not guaranteeing that Tom will be here next week.
Might be a two-person show.
Will
next
there
week?
be a next week? Yeah.
I just can't wait till this is done and all of our phones light up. We need to have a meeting. So push the envelope. They said, push the envelope. Okay, whatever. So
Don't tear it though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I drew the line though. I wasn't going to wear a bikini, but maybe I'll have to. Who knows?
Oh, no. I
On that
bleed.
note.
I bleed. Yeah.
So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will see you next week, 8 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel. And in the meantime, make sure you get out there and get shooting. Night, guys.
Bye, Mom.